Okay, let's just jump right in with a huge question. How many new stars pop into existence across the entire universe every single day? I mean, it's a question so big, well, literally astronomical, right? It sounds completely impossible to answer. But guess what? Today, we're going to solve it.
So, where does a cosmic detective even begin with something like this? Well, you start by gathering clues. You piece together the evidence, from our own galactic backyard all the way out to the very edge of the observable universe. And our first stop? It's got to be home.
You know, every good investigation starts at the scene of the climb. For us, that's right here in the Milky Way. If we want to understand the entire universe, we first have to get a handle on the star-making that's happening right in our own neighborhood.
And right away, we run into a problem. Our local clues are conflicting. See, when we look with normal visible light, we see evidence for about 6 or 7 new stars a year. But the thing is, stars are born inside these really thick, dusty clouds that completely block our view. It's like they're hidden. But if we use a different tool, if we detect high-energy gamma rays from the radioactive stuff forged inside new massive stars, we can peer right through that dust. And this method? It gives us a much higher number, somewhere between 10 and 20 new stars per year.
So, it seems like our Milky Way is a pretty active star factory. But how does it stack up against others? Well, our giant neighbor Andromeda is surprisingly quiet. It only makes about 1 or 2 stars a year. But then you have these absolute monsters called starburst galaxies that can churn out thousands of new stars every single year. So it's pretty clear that location matters a lot, and these star birth rates are all over the place.
All right, so we have our local data, a range for our own galaxy. But how on earth do we scale that up? Well, it's time to take this investigation universe-wide. To do this, we need a really crucial piece of the puzzle. It's kind of like a cosmic recipe, and it's called the initial mass function, or IMF. This is basically a statistical rule that tells us the birth weights of stars. And what it reveals is just fascinating. The universe overwhelmingly prefers to make small stars. For every single massive, bright star that's born, about 150 small, dim, low-mass stars are created right along with it.
So, armed with that cosmic recipe and our understanding of how galaxies like ours work, we can finally add up the productivity of the hundreds of billions of galaxies out there. And when we do the math, we get our answer. And it is staggering. Every single day, across the entire observable universe, approximately 400 million new stars ignite. 400 million? I mean, that number is it's hard to even wrap your head around, so let's try to break it down. That's over 17 million new stars an hour, almost 300,000 every single minute. And get this, in the time it takes you to just blink, nearly 5,000 new suns have just blinked into existence across the cosmos. It's happening constantly.
But wait, what about the other side of the coin? What about star death? Well, while about 43,000 massive stars die in these spectacular supernova explosions each day, that number is it's completely dwarfed by the 400 million new stars being born. And that's that IMF recipe at work again, right? Most stars are simply too small to ever go supernova in the first place.
But hold on, because here's a major plot twist in our story. That incredible number we just calculated, the 400 million, it's only true for right now. The universe's productivity, well, it's changed dramatically over its lifetime.
You see, the universe had a much, much more energetic youth. There was a period astronomers have nicknamed cosmic noon, when star formation was just going completely wild. And ever since that peak, the universe has been settling down, and its star-making has been on this long, slow decline.
The universe's whole star-making story unfolds over billions of years. It ramped up super fast after the Big Bang, hitting its absolute peak about 3.5 billion years in. At this cosmic noon, the universe was creating stars 20 to 30 times faster than it does today. In fact, think about this. By the time the universe was 6.5 billion years old, 3/4 of all the stars that would ever exist had already been born. We are living in a cosmos where star formation is just 3% of what it used to be.
At least, that's the story we thought we knew. But now, there's a new detective on the case, the James Webb Space Telescope, and it is completely rewriting that first chapter of cosmic history.
So Webb is staring back to the dawn of time, and it's finding something totally shocking. It's finding galaxies that are way bigger and way brighter than our models said should even be possible that early on. It's kind of like finding a fully grown adult in a nursery. It's a discovery that's forcing us to rethink everything we thought we knew about how fast galaxies can grow.
So what does all this mean? It means our old models were probably wrong. JWST is showing us that early galaxies bulked up incredibly fast, that their star formation was shockingly efficient, and that a whole population of red dusty galaxies was completely hidden from us before. It might even suggest that the cosmic recipe itself, that IMF, was different back then, maybe creating way more massive stars than it does today.
Okay, we've looked at the present and we've looked at the past. So what does all this mean for the future? What's the epilogue to our cosmic detective story?
Well, the star-making party is definitely winding down. Locally, here at home, we'll get one last big hurrah in about 5 billion years when the Milky Way and Andromeda galaxies collide. That's going to trigger a massive burst of new stars. But after that new Milky galaxy uses up the last of its fuel, it's going to go quiet. And across the entire universe, in about 100 trillion years, star formation will basically stop, completely. The cosmos will enter a cold, dark, degenerate era.
And this brings us to our own unique place in time, doesn't it? We don't live at the fiery dawn of creation, nor in the endless, dark future. We are here, right now, in the twilight of the star-making era, while the cosmos is still churning out 400 million new suns every day, which leaves us with one final, pretty profound thought. What will we do with the remaining light?